Probably everyone. No.
Plan on how I'm
Unmuted.
doing the
You're
social
unmuted.
distancing thing. My team, so whatever help you can give me, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely, I don't mind.
We're unmuted, everyone.
The council come to order. Would everyone please rise? We led in the prayer by Alderwoman Stacey Gould.
Almighty God, we ask for your blessing upon the members of this council as we assemble here in this chamber to conduct the ongoing business of our city. With your guidance, we will strive to ensure that all our decisions are for the common good, and your inspiration will instill respect, compassion, and thoughtfulness in all our deliberations. Give us the strength and wisdom to lead by example as the people's representatives, and that peace and harmony will mark all our proceedings and keep us faithful to the trust placed in us by the citizens of our community. Amen.
Amen. Alderman Nash, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
As in keeping with the past practice, I'm going to read a statement in reference to the Executive Order 7B-1 issued by Governor Ned Lamont, issued on March 14, 2020, together with any other executive orders subsequently issued which pertain to these meetings. The mayor, members of the city council, and the city manager, city clerk, comptroller, and corporate council shall be present in person but separated by appropriate social distancing at council chambers, or participate remotely by conference call, video conference, or other technology. The meeting will be televised on public access channel in real time and posted on the city's website at www.norwichct.org, consistent with the Executive Order 7B-1 and the usual practices of the City of Norwich. All remarks or comments made by the mayor, the members of the Norwich City Council, city officials, and by the public during the citizen comment on resolutions portion of the meeting shall be included. The comments of citizens on resolutions may be made telephonically pursuant to the following instructions. Call phone number first dial 860-215-8140, and then when prompted, enter the conference ID 403-8191, followed by the pound key. This number will be available only during the public comment period listed on the agenda as citizen comment on resolutions. Its use commences when citizen comment on resolutions is reached and opened by the mayor. Any calls must be made prior to the mayor's announcement that the citizen comment on resolutions period has ended. Citizen comment on resolutions limited to the resolutions on the agenda may also be sent by email or means of other written communications stating the name and title, if applicable, of the sender. Emails should have been sent to the office of the mayor at mayorsoffice@cityofnorwich.org, and other written communications sent or delivered to the office of the mayor, 100 Broadway, Norwich, Connecticut 06360. Emails were to be received by 7 p.m. of this above-mentioned date, and other written communications were to be received by 4:30 p.m., again, of this above-mentioned date, to be made available to the City Council for this meeting. Citizen comments will be limited to the resolutions on the agenda only. All speakers taking part in the citizen comment on resolutions portions of the meeting shall clearly state their name and title, if applicable, before speaking, and will be limited to 3 minutes. At this time, I'd ask for the adoption of the minutes of meetings on May 4th, 11th, and 18th, 2020. Alderman Wilson, second by Alderwoman Gould. Is there discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, we need a roll call.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Petitions and communication. Communication from the City Council and Board of Education Ad Hoc Committee regarding the record of vote on a recommendation of the City Council regarding the funding of Norwich Public School budget for fiscal year 2021.
Motion, please, to receive. Alderman DeLucia, second. Alderwoman Miles. Is there discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Oh, you have a question?
You have a question?
I
I'm
have
sorry.
discussion. Yeah, no
My
problem.
apologies.
I would just like to take this opportunity to thank the ad hoc committee for their hard work. There had several meetings. There was as it states in the memorandum, that there was wide-ranging and considerable discussion, exchange of ideas, several questions and answers, and it was a lot of work. It was an arduous task. It is a difficult task to overcome, but I'm very pleased with the way the committee came together and at least opened the lines of communication between the City Council and the Board of Ed in a way that we have not seen in at least the recent past. So again, I'd just like to thank the committee members for their hard work. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there further comment? Seeing none, then motion, roll call.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
City Manager's report.
Thank you. This is the city manager's report for June 1st, 2020. At the regular scheduled meetings over the past 2 weeks held via conference call or video conferencing were Governor Lamont, state representatives and legislators, Region 4 Division of Emergency Management and Homeland Security, statewide COVID-19 local health departments, Southeastern Council of Governments, Southeast Transit School Budget Ad Hoc Committee, Restaurant Reopening Committee, and department heads. Staff and I discussed the council's proposed fire study with Acting Fire Chief Keith Ruzick and the Volunteer Fire Department Representative of Yantic Fire Chief Frank Blanchard, who they will assist and coordinate throughout the entire process, and we will be meeting accordingly. The goal is to have the RFP issued by the end of June. The Office of Community Development received 7 applications totaling $563,768.10 for the program year 45 amendment, which must be used to prevent, prepare for, and respond to the COVID-19 virus. Funding is available in the amount of $506,569, and deliberations will be held on June 2nd. The City Clerk's Office #1 dog tag contest will be held via email nomination this year. Submissions must be received by June 15th. For more information on the nomination process, please call the Clerk's Office at 860-823-3732. Norwich Human Services has been awarded a $25,000 from the Neighbors to Neighbors Fund for the Community Foundation of Eastern Connecticut to assist those in Norwich affected financially from the COVID-19 virus with rent, utilities, food, and other necessary bills. The Community Foundation also awarded the Recreation Department $25,000 towards camp scholarships to help defray the costs so that Norwich parents can return to work confident that their children are being well cared for. Summer youth employment will also take place this year. Youth under 18 will not be able to work on a job site, but will earn money for participating in metrics learning on topics such as safe driving, employment skills, and other topics. Those over 18 will be allowed to work on job site. Information is posted on the Youth and Family Services page of the city's website. The Recreation Department is working to open Spalding Pond by June 17th. Lifeguards will be trained in new protocols for social distancing on the beach and Red Cross lifeguard COVID-19 standards. Capacity will be limited with required spacing between blankets, and we feel that we'll be able to offer this much-needed, no-cost recreation opportunity to families. That completes my report for this evening.
Thank you, John. Are there questions of the city manager at this time? Seeing none, thank you.
You're welcome.
At this time, I would declare citizen comment on resolutions to be open. And again, the number to call in is 860-215-8140. And when prompted, enter the conference ID 403-8191, followed by the pound key. The lines are open.
Hi, my name is Cynthia White. I live at 28 Bliss Place. I am a lifelong Norwich resident and have been a teacher at Moriarty School for 30 years. I want to tell you about the emotional side of a possible cut to the transportation budget. So each elementary school is a home to students, teachers, and staff alike. There are so many special bonds of security, stability, love, and trust within those schools between students, staff, teachers, and families. These are important life experiences that go beyond money. Our Moriarty Magnet School is a family. We've worked hard for 7 years creating our magnet school and shaping it to what it has become. Families around Norwich have chosen to attend our school because of our values and our environmental theme. Our entire staff, the administration, secretaries, nurses, paras, the EL tutors, who are a vital connection to communities, more than you can imagine, our interventionists, custodians, teachers, all play an integral part in the life of Moriarty and all of the elementary schools in town. All students deserve to stay at their current schools, their second homes, whether it's their official home school or not. A teacher at Moriarty did a share out today during a live session. What are you grateful for or excited for? One student said she is grateful to see her friends every day, and another student said she's not excited for summer at all because she would miss her friends and teachers too much. And then she said, but we'll see each other in the fall in no time. And that was really heartbreaking to hear because depending on where these students live and what happens with this budget, they might not see each other. COVID has taken a toll on all the students around the world. They've gotten their day-to-day routine taken away from them. Their only socializations with their peers is through live sessions, and our students can't wait to get back to their own school. One consequence of a cut is that there is the potential for it to be traumatic to students who are already at high risk of having experienced trauma in their lives. With the abrupt ending of school and the inability to appropriately end relationships, this could place our vulnerable students at risk of more trauma. Having to move to a new school because their family can't afford gas or have a vehicle or have time to get them to a different school is another layer we are exposing them to, and that's just not fair. By taking students away from the security and stability of their current schools, just know that there would be devastated children, families, teachers, and staff all over Norwich. We understand change needs to happen due to the long-standing budget deficit, and we think it should be done carefully and thoughtfully, working together as a team. So some alternatives might be having community bus stops for fewer pickups. Consider looking at the bus contract. What about 4 longer school days or integration of virtual education? Well, those are just some ideas, but thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you.
Corey Fogarty, 177 Maple Street, Norwich, Connecticut.
Go ahead, please.
When I and my husband moved back to Norwich, Connecticut, after leaving Warwick, Rhode Island, where many cuts were made, we were excited to hear that there were many choices that we could make for our daughter. My daughter has multiple developmental delays and an IEP. She, like other students, learn best when music and art are used. She also needs technology as a tool for learning. She would not flourish in a traditional education setting
as set by a home-based school. Therefore, I ask you to reconsider your proposal to cut magnet schools. Taking away the magnet schools is an unfair cut, not only to children who have had the choice to have attended for years, but also to the children like my daughter who are supposed to start in the fall. They need to be kept as they are a valuable asset in the educational experience for many children, like my daughter and others. Families should be allowed to continue to have the choice in what best fits their child's educational learning style. Thank you.
Thank you.
Peter, I'm just going to keep track of the time.
Okay.
Megan Campbell, 10 Rockwell Street. I'm just speaking on behalf of, I am a product of Norwich Public Schools, I am a proud teacher of Norwich Public Schools, and I, this coming school year, will be a parent of a student of Norwich Public Schools. My husband and I are happy to both all live in Norwich our whole lives, and we hope to send our son to school in Norwich. However, seeing these changes coming up is very scary. By closing schools, we are increasing class sizes, which is very hard for everyone involved. The system really is having a hard time, would have a hard time handling more kids, and smaller class sizes are really important for our younger kids. We are aware that there needs to be some changes, but hopefully we can come to a change together, as Cindy White said. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Alan Ripley, 11 Laurel Heights, Norwich, Connecticut. Good evening, City Council. My name is Alan Ripley, and I'm a passionate and proud Norwich public educator working as a special education teacher at John N. Moriarty Magnet School. Tonight, I speak on behalf of my 60 coworkers and 425 students and family of Moriarty. Budgets are created to help us not spend beyond our means. Due to years of Norwich spending beyond their needs, cuts in areas of education is a yearly occurrence. And this year, if the proposed 5.5% increase isn't accepted, Moriarty, along with Laquanic, will lose their magnet name and become a neighborhood school. Not accepting the proposed budget presented by the Board of Education, the short-term and long-term effects towards our children will impact them tenfold. Families who choose our school for the rich science curriculum and the exceptional teachers and supporting staff members will be asked to collect their items and off to their neighborhood schools. Our students, families, and staff may never get the closure we all deserve due to distant learning. City Council and city people of Norwich, we were all once students in a classroom, wide-eyed and hopeful for a better tomorrow. We all loved and cared for our teachers, and we all had that one teacher who went the extra mile to help us succeed. Every teacher I know who teaches in Norwich, and especially at Moriarty, does this daily. It's teachers and educators that give Norwich the bright name. And it also what gives us the light of challenging times for students and their families. I know of countless stories of my fellow co-workers going above and beyond for their students, their families, and each other. For years, teachers have been called upon to be resourceful, whether it's buying school supplies out of pocket, making walls using old bookshelves, or creating math lessons with only the items we have in our homes. We do this because we love our students and the idea that we are shaping tomorrow's leaders today. But I ask you, when is being resourceful turned into a superlative for teaching? City Council, we cannot let our past mistakes affect the future of Norwich Public School students, their families, and more importantly, certified and non-certified staff members. Now, I was raised where you don't voice your concerns without solutions to the problem. Some of the creative alternatives to losing our magnet title could be having a community bus stop for those students or integration of virtual learning. I end on this. Normal is not normal anymore, but the one remaining constant is a teacher's love for their students and family, and Moriarty is just that, family. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Alexis Alicius, 8th graders court, Norwich, Connecticut, paraeducator. My comment is, why should the students of Norwich suffer from having a great education that we Norwich can provide to them? If resources are cut, how can the children get a proper education? My children have all graduated from Norwich Public Schools and have succeeded due to all the programs that was provided to them prior to all the budget cuts. How will this affect our students? It will affect our students in learning and socialization between staff and students. In this time right now with everything going on, if our school budget is cut and our staff is cut, our students won't have those resources when they come into school every day, looking for that one person who they depend on to be able to say good morning and give them a proper day. Students need us, and we should be there for them. So please, when you think about the budget, think about our students who are the future of Norwich. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Monica. Unfortunately, I wrote the entire presentation and wasn't privy to anything other than sort of comments. What I would like to say is, I also am a product of Norwich Public Schools. My children were as well, and now my grandchildren. And I'm sorry, I'm at 229 Old Kinderberry Turnpike. And I think we need to keep this. It's tricky right now for all of them, and to start taking from them from the one thing that has been consistent is totally unfair to them. They need to be able to walk into school knowing already the faces that they know, and I know that the love is there for them. I see it when I pick my grandson up from school. I see it when I go to the school programs. I see that Mahan, which is where he goes to school all the time. We need to stay consistent for our children. It's the one thing you would all tell us as parents. Stay consistent. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not 20%, I'm going to lose it.
Hi, good evening, City Council. My name is Carolyn Turner, and I live at 281 Norwich Avenue in Sackville. And I am speaking out over the fact that, once again, the school budget is up for a cut. My 8th grader, he's finishing up his school year and moving on to high school, but because of the support and because of the teaching staff that he has had throughout his Norwich Public School career, he has grown in leaps and bounds, and to continue to cut this budget is also going to prevent the growth that other children are experiencing with all the staff that is set in place to see that these children succeed. Children like my son, who has been through the misbehaviors, he's dealt with a lot of trauma throughout his life, and to have those supports in place make a world of difference. So to constantly cut the budget, you just keep picking from the wrong people, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Marvin Cerruto, 100 Star Street, Norwich, Connecticut, United States of America. I would like to say on Resolution 3, I am not in favor of any increase in the budget whatsoever. We're presently in a pandemic where we have focused on this for the last 3 months, and the way we conduct business has completely changed. It is unlike anything we've ever seen. Our General Assembly has not been in session and is not in session. There's too many unknowns out there. Right now, the state is pretty much being governed by the left side of the state, both geographically and politically. And I think it's time that all of us start thinking with a conservative mind. I look forward to hearing from many of the taxpayers of the city of Norwich. I'll be willing to stay on until midnight if necessary. It wouldn't be my first time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The lines are open.
Good evening. My name is Stacey Wentworth, and I live at 26 Flyers Drive in Norwich. I'm respectfully requesting that you fully support the Board of Education's proposed budget this fiscal year. I speak at these meetings year after year asking for the same thing because my family lives in Norwich and we love living here. We feel very strongly that the education system is worth saving. I'm speaking to you as a former educator, as a current mental health clinician, a taxpayer, and most importantly, as a mother of 2 Norwich Public School students. I've heard that this year, as a result of the expected federal COVID-19 funding, the City Council may assume that the Board of Education will not need a full budget. On the contrary, this year more than ever, our children will need access to increased resources to get up to speed both academically and emotionally. In the behavioral health field, we are anticipating vast increases to the amount of children who will be in need of behavioral health services and increased support as a direct result of COVID-19. The federal funding will not begin to touch the estimated needs. We haven't had a full budget in years, which is in large part why this has become so detrimental. We aren't asking for sports, languages, or even supplies because at this point, we've given up on expecting funding for those. We are simply asking for funding to avoid stripping magnet schools' titles, to avoid redistricting, and uprooting hundreds of NPS students, which would be another undeserved trauma for our kids and lead to longer-term supports needed. You have backed the Board of Education into a corner for years by inadequately funding education. And this has forced cut after cut, and there's nothing left to cut. I'm requesting that before bullying the Board of Education again this year, you simply look at their proposal, look at the grant funding, and the current operating costs. And then please explain to all of the taxpayers how we can possibly operate on the budget that you are suggesting. You tell us where cuts can be made that won't jeopardize the entire infrastructure of the Norwich Public School System, the well-being of all of our students, and in the bigger picture, of the community at large. This is your responsibility, and speaking as our PTO Vice President on behalf of many parents, we are holding you, the City of Norwich, responsible. Please do better this year. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Heather Romansky, Chair of the Norwich Board of Education, 297 Scotland Road, speaking on Resolution 3. Budget season is a notoriously difficult time in Norwich, and for many years I've stood before you to advocate for our schools. First as a parent, then as a board member, and now I virtually stand before you tonight as the chair of the Board of Ed. In recent weeks, I've heard comments from the community like, here we go again, and it's like this every year. In some ways, yes, but in other ways, no. There's new leadership both in Norwich Public Schools and on the Board of Education. The City Council and Board of Education Ad Hoc Committee was created in January, and I'm optimistic that once that entire committee gets a grasp on the totality of the fiscal picture at NPS, the real collaboration will begin. The committee already plans to resume meeting in mid to late September. The Board of Education is creating a plan to change the way financial information will be presented to the council, city manager, and the public. This is a result of direct feedback from those committee discussions. I was asked by both the Board of Ed and the Ad Hoc Committee to reach out to NFA asking for financial relief. They've acknowledged the receipt of my letter, and their board is discussing the request. If the city were to fully fund the Board of Ed's budget, it would be a 9.1% increase. The board requested a 5.5% increase. The city manager has allocated a 2.4% increase. We've demonstrated how that won't cover the tuition and other contractual increases in the coming year. I tasked the superintendent to create a list of the possible ways we'll mitigate that difference in funding. You've seen those slides. It will be a devastating blow to K-8 education in Norwich. The board is trying very hard to balance the needs of the city of Norwich with the responsibility we have as the Board of Education. I recognize that as a city, we're struggling in this pandemic. However, the laws that govern what must be provided to our youngest citizens still apply. The state and federal mandates still apply. So I come to you tonight to advocate for additional funding for Norwich Public Schools, to increase the allocation to at least the 5.5% that was asked for. And even at that level of increase, decisions will need to be made, and the board will need time to make those important decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Jessica Clay, 321 Old Canterbury Turnpike. I come here tonight to address the City Council gods. Maybe that's what I should call you guys. Because when it comes to making decisions on my children's future, that's what makes you all powerful, right? I was privileged to find out information on how you think you will cut money from the budget for the next school year. You're telling me that after a global pandemic in which our children had to leave their educators and friends and be homeschooled for 4 months, isolated from the public, that you think your plan is actually a great idea. To uproot them from their school that they've attended for years, that's the best option. The trauma that they've endured over the last 4 months and the mental health that we have worked on for ourselves at home to cope with all of this will surely have been for nothing. I understand you're trying to make up for lost funds, but as it is, our kids don't do things that other districts do. We don't play musical instruments. We don't learn second languages. For goodness sakes, we hardly go on field trips. Our school did not even have money for school supplies and pencils last year. Many of us parents, we're ready to sell our houses and leave this town because if we can't depend on our child's education to be top-notch, why are we here? This is your fault. You have shorted the education fund for years, and now your snowball is too big to move, right? Well, then you need to fix that. My special education son and 2 incoming kindergartners this year deserve the best education with a fully funded school budget. My oldest son has several developmental delays and an IEP. He should have all the resources available that he needs to become a successful, smart, and happy young adult. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mikhail Destasio. I live on 105 Peck Street in Norwich. I'm not only a lifelong resident of Norwich, but also a proud Norwich Public Schools teacher at Waquanic Arts and Technology Magnet Elementary School. I am deeply concerned about the budgetary issues plaguing us yet again. We cannot continue to fund this city on the backs of our youth. With the current pandemic response and now a very unstable social climate, now is absolutely not the time to be taking anything more away from our children than the world has already taken. We already know that COVID requirements from the state to return to school in person will be incredibly difficult without adding into it school closures, larger classrooms, less custodians to do the imperative disinfecting to keep our kids safe, and just less staffing overall to offer support and attention to the children. Our children are living in a time when social emotional support will be far more critical than ever before. And let's not forget that these children will be our leaders one day. I implore you to fund the Board of Education budget with enough money to keep all schools open and preserve our very dedicated and passionate staff here in Norwich. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Christina Carter. I'm at 126 Scotland Road in Norwich. I'm a lifelong resident of Norwich. My husband and I are homeowners in and therefore taxpayers to the city. We have one daughter currently in the Norwich public school system. Our daughter attends Moriarty Magnet School. My knee-jerk reaction to this budget crisis was to assume that the shortfalls were exaggerated and could easily be made up by cutting waste. While I'm sure there are a few things that could be done to save some money, the amount that the City Council proposes the Board of Ed cut is beyond ludicrous. I'm a member of our school PTO, which had to purchase pencils last year because our school is running so lean as it is. Our students are just now reaching the end of what will go down in history as the most bizarre and stressful school year of their lives. It may only be trumped by the next school year if the City Council budget actually passes as you have proposed, so radically underfunded. Our students run the risk of being plucked from schools where they have spent, in some cases, years familiarizing themselves and placed into new schools where everything is foreign. It would be difficult to ask a child to cope with that during a normal time, but to expect them to do so after the nonsense that we've put them through this spring is bordering on mentally abusive. We already short our elementary school kids by offering no musical instruments, no foreign language, and sending them unprepared to middle school and high school. We cannot continue to fail our students by asking them to skimp even more than we already do. I feel that I should mention that I am also a lifelong conservative. Conservatism tells me to err on the side of budget cuts, but morals and ethics tell me to do what's right and support fully funding the Norwich Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, oh, it's already been on. This My name is Norma Toms, 229 Old Canterbury Turnpike, Norwich, Connecticut. I'm going to actually make a statement for my daughter, Virginia Butler, 17 Autumn Way. She is the mother of a child at Mahan School, and she lost service. She just wanted me to say that you should consider cutting the money the people in power get and not take from the teachers and the kids. Money is always an issue, but they make the money take away from the school. It's totally unfair. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello?
Hello? Lines are open.
My name is Ethel Barrett. I live on 49 Tanglewood Drive in Norwich.
I'm a lifelong Norwich resident as well, and my children were schooled in the Norwich school system in much better days. And I'm calling to urge you to reconsider the proposal to eliminate several custodial positions. During the virus epidemic, I think it would be counterproductive to the safety of our students. The importance of constant cleaning, maintaining, and sterilization of all classrooms should be top priority. This cannot be accomplished by lessening the number of staff that maintains these classrooms. I also believe that there are other places that can be cut, some maybe high-priced administrative positions possibly could be cut back on before you eliminate positions that deal with the safety of the kids, which is of utmost importance. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. This is Melanie Elliott. I'm at 43 Green Avenue in Norwich. I'm a preschool teacher at the Bishop Early Learning Center, and I'm here to speak in opposition to any cuts in the superintendent's proposed budget for the Norwich Public Schools. I'm here to speak for the children who do not appear to be given consideration in your deliberations. The superintendent has supplied you with very detailed explanations of how detrimental to the education of our children any cuts may be. And I have to tell you that after years of underfunding, we are already stretched far too thin. Removing programs such as the Family Resource Center and before and after care programs at the Norwich Public Schools will continue to hurt the economy of Norwich by not giving parents safe options for their children so they can return to work. Even the cuts necessary under the Board of Education's approved budget are far too deep and painful to consider. Our children are worth more than it is suggested by such a budget proposal. Whether we are talking about unreasonable increases in class sizes, cutting enrichment programs, or eliminating paraprofessionals from our classrooms, we are talking about cuts that directly hurt the chances that our children have to learn and to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nestor Quiles. I live Traders in. I feel the budget should be approved because the children are more important than.
Wayne Henson, 49 Ann Street. I want the taxpayers of Norwich to know that I have been a tax-paying citizen of Norwich since 1983. All of my kids benefited from Norwich public education. The worst thing that could happen at this time is a pullback of our school system's class size and our teaching staff, especially during this pandemic situation. Our kids just got a big dose of a world in chaos. Virus, riots, injustice, and now a possible retreat from our responsibility to educate and ensure their safety and success? I hope not. Not now, not ever. I hope this council will think long and hard about the consequence of their decisions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jenny Butler, 17 Autumn Way. It's frustrating to me that all the decisions and plans being set forth are not in the best interest of the children in our tight-knit Norwich community. We keep hearing in all the emails and letters being sent that we're in this together, but are we really? The people who have the power to change things want to take away art and music and eliminate the exceptional staff who actually know our children. How is that beneficial in any way? Why not allow their teachers to have a voice, since they know what their students need, and cut money from salaries of the people in charge of these things? When their livelihood and family are affected, like all of ours are, maybe these decisions, and then when these decisions relate to them, then they'll know how we feel, and better choices can be made for the kids and the teachers of Norwich. I hope they think this through and realize that these choices need to be beneficial for these kids and not for their pockets.
The lines are still open. Number to call is 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key. Again, the number to call is 860-215-8140, conference ID 403-8191, followed by the pound key. Third and final request, the number to call in is 860-215-8140 with a conference ID of 403-8191, followed by the pound key. Seeing as no other callers, I'm going to thank everyone for calling in, and I cleared this. Oh, we have one more. Good evening.
John Blackburn, 15 Alice Street, Norwich, Connecticut. I've been listening to this thing about with the Board of Education budget. It seems like all the teachers and parents are calling up, but what about the rest of the city here? We have elderly property owners and people unemployed that are having a hard time making ends meet. It seems like they want everything for them, but they're not worried about anybody else. I don't think it's right that Board of Education should get a big increase. Not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Mary Pollard, 26 Delwood Road in Norwich. I am a parent of 2 kids right now who are in Waquanic School and one who graduated out of Norwich Public Schools last year and is currently a student at NSF. My children desperately need, like I'm sure so many other children, to have the continuation of education at the school they have been at for however many years. To rip them away from the structure and the support that they have been given every day, and to let them know that there's a chance that they're not going to be able to return to at least something normal when school hopefully reopens in the fall, is a horrible, horrible thing to do to these kids. They need constancy. They need security in knowing that the people who are going to be around them are the people who have been around them, keeping them safe and keeping them well tended to all day, physically, emotionally, and educationally. Please, please, please consider funding the Board of Ed's request and giving the money needed to be able to keep these kids where they need to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Jessica Slay, 321 Old Canterbury Turnpike. I have a response to the
The line is still open.
Keith, and I live on 137B Chestnut Street. As a Norwich resident and music teacher myself, I'm concerned about the fact that cutting music education from the childhood program is included in the budget proposal. I teach music, middle school music, but in order for our music students to have the skills that they need by the time they make it to middle school, their first 5 years of development are extremely important. The early childhood age range is when music and kinesthetic aptitudes develop in children, and this music teacher includes both in his lessons. He teaches the pre-K students how to connect their movement to their musical growth. He enhances their melodic aptitude by teaching themselves extensive vocal techniques, and he provides a wide range of vocal repertoire to do so. He also enhances their rhythmic aptitude through the use of variety of instruments as well as vocal percussion. Pre-K classroom teachers do not include music from time to time throughout their lessons. Pre-K music teachers do include music from time to time throughout their lessons, but this is not all the same than having a certified music educator presented to engage children in music as a subject. Although removing the certified music teacher position from Bishop Early Learning Center is included in the budget proposal, this part of the budget proposal actually has no effect on the dollar amount of the overall reduction. Currently, the music teacher's job is split between Bishop and Moriarty, and the plan is to make him full-time at Moriarty instead, with no reduction in salary. Therefore, as taxpayers, we are actually getting more for our money right now because we are getting a certified music education at 2 schools for the price of 1 salary. Additionally, during the 2018-2019 school year, the Bishop classroom teachers unanimously nominated their certified music teacher for Norwich Teacher of the Year. For these reasons, it's to be clear that certified music teacher is an important part of the childhood program and should not be included in the budget proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ellen Henson, 49 Ann Street, Norwich, Connecticut. I grew up in a family where education was paramount. My father worked his whole life as an educator in New London, and I believe that education is the key to everything, and to cut anything at this point in time when people are in so much need and it is just so detrimental to our community, and I hope you really reconsider. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Savannah Moran Vargas, 74 South 4th Avenue in Taftville. I just wanted to come on here and say that I recently, I was a student at Norwich Public Schools, and I just recently graduated from UConn, and without all the amazing programs that Norwich Public Schools offers, especially their ESL program, because I come from an immigrant family, I definitely wouldn't have gotten as far as I have. And it would be really unfair to a lot of children to miss out on all these really great opportunities. So I really hope this is reconsidered and we can find ways to still implement all these programs. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Kristen Talley, and I live at 205 McKinley Ave Extension. I am also a teacher for multilingual learners at Norwich Public Schools. As a teacher for 14 years and a mother of 2 current MPS students and 1 who will be a student in 4 years, I implore you to pass the Board of Ed's request. We are on the brink of draconian budgeting on the backs of our children. We are at this point because of the city and years of attempting to balance budgets at our children's expense. Should the district incur the cuts you propose this year, I have real fears for the years to come. You must fund the Board of Ed's request. Thank you.
Thank you. Remind everyone to please state your name and address at the beginning of your statement. This is request number 1. For additional callers, please dial 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID of 403-8191 and the pound key.
Good evening. My name is Carlene Shamwell. I'm a Board of Education member. I live at 19 Jordan Drive, Norwich, Connecticut. Over the past couple of years, the city has continued to underfund the Norwich Public School to a point where it is no longer sustainable. This year, the city manager has proposed and the city council has preliminarily approved a 2.4% increase in the school budget. That funding level increase is not nearly enough to run our school system, especially with a 7% increase in tuition from Norwich Free Academy. A 2.4% increase will continue the cycle of years of inequitable funding for our K-8 students. I understand that we are living in uncertain times and with the constant threat of major outbreak of COVID-19, an increase in unemployment and civil unrest. I know that there are many difficult decisions that were solely on the City Council, and I admire the work that you've taken on. However, I strongly urge you to invest in our children and in our public schools. We need a 9.1% increase, as recommended by the superintendent, but we believe that given the difficult economic crisis we are facing, we would like to request at least a 5.5% increase. The 5.5% is needed to ensure that the Board of Education has the resources that it needs to meet the basic academic and support services needs of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. The number to call again is 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key. That is request 1. Again, the number is 860-215-8140, conference ID 403-8191, and the pound key. That is request 2. Again, the number is 860-215-8140, conference ID 403-8191, followed by the pound key. That is request 3.
Yvette Jacaruso.
192 Whiteman Avenue, Norwich. Since January 20th, 2020, the Board of Ed and the City Council have been meeting as an ad hoc committee to work out our differences between the Board of Ed request for 5.5% increase and the City Council proposal of 2.4% increase, a difference of 3.1% between the two proposals. NFA is asking for over a 2% increase. We have no control over NFA's budget. They send the bill and we pay it. We've had conversations with NFA concerning their budget, but nothing changed. The increase in tuition remains the same, so it's left to the Norwich Public School pre-K through 8 program to absorb the increase. Please be kind to our Norwich Public School students. We are asking for what is best for our students to keep them competitive with their peers in other districts. Why should some families move here? If we, the citizens, keep lowering the financial support for our students, how can our students compare with the other school peers? We want the best for our students so they can be competitive with other district students. So please support our budget proposal. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Just give them a last call.
What's that?
Just give them a last call.
I've been doing that.
You got to start over, 1, 2, 3 again?
Are there any other callers? The number is 860-215-8140, followed by the conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key. Second request, are there additional callers? 860-215-8140, conference ID 403-8191 and the pound key. Works like a charm.
My name is Ashlyn Gomes, 79 Hampton Road. I am a lifelong resident in Norwich and a Norwich Public Schools art teacher at Huntington and Mahan Elementary School. I implore you to approve the Board of Ed's budget increase for next year. Our students deserve more. Our students deserve to return to some sense of normalcy. Our teachers and staff deserve to return to their jobs, to their class sizes that are low, to navigate safely through this health crisis. Eliminating a school would cause an incredible amount of pain for our community, and please hear us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other callers? Second request, are there any other callers? Third and final, are there any other callers? Okay.
Hi, this is James Roberge. My address is 150 Merchants Ave, Avalon, Connecticut.
longtime taxpayer. I ask you to consider fully funding the request for Board of Ed. I've had 3 stepchildren pass through the North Public School system, all graduated college, one of which is now a PE teacher for the public school system, and all 3 of my stepchildren are long-time graduates, but I still think that the education of the youth is the best investment that can be made, especially after such a stressful year with all the COVID-19 changes to school. Having them go back to a different school system would be devastating and stressful. I just ask that you greatly consider fully funding the Board of Ed request. Thank you.
Thank you. Did they hang up? It's orchestrated. Are there any other callers, please? Are there any other callers, please? Are there any other callers, please? Since there are no other callers, I declare the public hearing closed.
New business, Resolution 1. Relative to a resolution scheduling a public hearing on the Community Development Block Grant Allocation Recommendation for June 15th, 2020.
I entertain a motion, please, to bring this forward to the floor. Alderwoman Miles, second, Alderwoman Gould. No discussion. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Motion passes 7-0.
Number 2, relative to an amendment of the 2020-2021 budget to increase funding for permit and inspection software and decrease funding for servers.
Motion, please, to put this on the floor. Alderman Miles, second, Alderman Nash. Is there discussion? Alderman Wilson.
My only question is, I remember when we had this discussion about the software, will $200,000 be enough for them to purchase and do all that's necessary for the software?
For the record, please state your name. position.
This is Josh Pothier, Comptroller. We are currently reviewing proposals from 4 finalists, and $200,000 should be enough to take care of the implementation costs. There's the request for proposals that we issued, asked for pricing, including Uncas Health District and other departments, and so we could probably adjust the project as necessary depending on which vendor we end up choosing. We still have to check some references, and we may have to have another software demo just so that we really get a thorough understanding of which solution would be best for the city of Norwich.
So my question is, will the 200,000 be enough?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Further, Alderman DeLucia.
So to follow up on that, you're reviewing proposals from, you said 4 finalists. Do you anticipate that there'll be an annual licensing fee or an annual cost that will go along with keeping this software updated and renewed the license and so on?
Yes, there will be, and that the amount of that cost varies quite a bit. So all of these software packages are web-based, so it's software as a service agreements. So you're paying them each year for hosting your information and making software updates and updating security packs and things of that nature annually. So there will be an annual cost to this.
So to follow up, so could you give us a ballpark of what that annual cost will be?
Between the 4 finalists, for the city's portion of it, it could vary between 30 to 70,000.
I'm sorry, 30 to
70,000
$1,000
per year.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Additional questions? President Pro Tem Mark Bettencourt.
I'm actually wondering about the removal of server replacement funding.
So we issued a request for proposals for server replacement earlier this year in January to get pricing for the budget, and we reallocated some capital contingency funding to get that project moving sooner to free up funding for the permit software for the Planning and Neighborhood Services Department.
So you are replacing the servers anyway, you just moved the money around?
That's starting, should be starting next week, getting, ordering equipment. And
thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, Alderman DeLucia, second time.
Thank you very much. So I'm sorry that I didn't pay a little bit closer attention to this, Josh, and just call you on the phone, but to ask you here. And you may not have the answer to this question. This might be a better question for the Director of Planning and Neighborhood Services. But what's the carrot? What do we gain in terms of potential revenue based on using the software versus what we're doing, whatever it is? Well, I know what we're doing now, but what it is we're doing now.
There should be several advantages. Probably the most impactful would be construction professionals and homeowners being able to start permits, open up permits at their house at any hour of the day and submit them for approval, submit payment for those permits, be able to get email notifications during steps of the process, and basically all of the things that you're able to do in the rest of your everyday life with mobile apps, having that sort of functionality.
So that's the benefit to the contractors and homeowners, okay? And the homeowners are obviously a part of our concern, but I guess what I'm looking for is that this streamlined process is this anticipated to make us as a city, more customer-friendly, more likely to accurately collect permit fees, more accurately get the assessment changed once a project is completed, and therefore obviously drive up revenue, right? I mean, are those all things, is this really the standard of what's going on now in municipalities to manage this and optimize our system in terms of not only getting the permits out, but also getting the revenue coming back in?
Right, it should be easier for customers and less, receiving something in paper form and then having to type it into another system and then making sure that that information transfers without any other intervention from, the building permit software system into the assessor's database, and it's, tying in all and making all those integrations possible to free up staff time.
Thank you. So just to kind of tie a ribbon around that. So part of the attractiveness of this package is it ties the building department to the assessor's office, maybe even to the fire marshal's office, depending on the scope of the project or the type of project, and so on and so forth. So again, that one-stop shop is we're taking another step in that direction. And
yes, that's the hope. We the fire marshal's office, Norwich Public Utilities, Uncas Health District, all of those groups were involved in evaluating the software package.
Thank you again.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? A roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
It's 7-0.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Resolution 3, relative to the adoption of the budget for fiscal year 2020-2021.
A motion, please, to bring this to the floor. Alderman Nash, second Alderman Wilson. Is there discussion? Alderman DeLucia.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone the vote on this resolution until June 8th, 2020.
I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded to postpone the vote to June 8th.
Is there discussion on the motion to postpone? Yes, Alderman Gould.
What would be the rationale for postponing it for another week?
The floor. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I think that in this unprecedented time, with the difficult nature of this budget, trying to put all the moving parts together of a budget is difficult enough. This year is even more heightened because of the issues that we face. I think that we should take every minute that is allocated to us by charter and by state statute to comb through this until we come up with a solution that is the best of all possible solutions. I won't even call it a good solution, but the best of all possible solutions. So if we have another 7 days, I believe that we should take those 7 days and continue to deliberate and continue to discuss before we put this budget in the books.
Thank you. Is there further? Alderman Nash.
I guess because I didn't know you were doing this, but I was going to echo your sentiments. I think we should go over this a little bit more because it is, listen, we all got the phone calls, we all got the emails. We understand what everyone's suffering right now. We just got a report from Public Utilities that, close to 3,000 residents can't, are behind in their bills, and it equals like $1 million+ dollars. So, yeah, I think 7 days will give us a little bit more opportunity to possibly come up with some sort of a, like you said, not necessarily the great solution, but maybe a better one. So I would support that.
Is there further comment on the motion to postpone? Yes, Alderman Wilson.
I'll agree with hold on one second. I'll agree with the sentiment of Alderman DeLucia and Alderman Nash in regards to the postponement. I think this budget, it's not going to be pretty. I mean, I think we all understand that we came into this budget season and everything was turned upside down as soon as this pandemic started. Are we going to please every single person? Absolutely not. Are we going to do our best and think of and consider every single thing that every caller, every writer, every taxpayer, every employee in this city has said to us? Absolutely. I think us taking our time that is allotted to us, an additional 7 days, to really think over this budget in this tough time will give us some time, some guidance, and finding the best solutions we can come up with as a council. I think the other part for me with the postponement is the understanding that although we set what this budget looks like, there are a lot of moving parts with departments and other areas that are affected. So us doing our part and doing our research before we make final decisions and allowing individuals to comment even more in this unprecedented time, I feel is more than gracious enough of us as a council. We are in a time where people have got to call in for comment. People have got to email. People have got to write letters instead of sitting in front of us at a podium. That has taken away from the effect of a good deal of individuals who normally would comment on this budget process really being able to grasp their hands around the moving parts with it. So I think the postponement allows us some time as a council to deliberate and find ways to best manage and serve our taxpayers, our employees with the decisions we're going to make on this budget. But also I think it gives individuals the notion that we're not trying to cram something down their throats as to what we want it to look like, but we're diligently taking our time to make the decisions that impact the city of Norwich. Thank you.
Thank you. Further statements? I will speak briefly. I will support the motion to postpone, but I don't think it'll change a darn thing in the week. 19% of our residents can't pay their utilities. If you combine resident, commercial, and retail, 19% of that entire body cannot make their payments for the utilities. We have the highest unemployment in the state at over 18%, largely driven by the voluntary closure of our 2 casinos run by our tribal nations. And in their efforts to support beating this virus, they've taken a very heavy economic loss, and that is translated here into the city of Norwich. Many of those jobs aren't coming back. 1 week won't change that. There's 154 businesses in this city that have been impacted by the closure of those 2 casinos. And I would hope our governor would get the message that it's time to open up the economy of this state. I'm not sure he has. But again, I'll support the measure, but I don't think it'll change a darn thing. I think, if anything, those numbers will grow. The time for collection of taxes during the month of July will really tell the story. That's the revenue we do not know will arrive. So in this week, I would caution everyone here to sharpen your pencils and think about the taxpayers. They're the ones paying the bill, and I just hope they're still here at the end of this budget debate, at the end of this calendar year, because the word I hear is many are looking to leave. And our actions tonight may have a large decision for them. I hope it's the right one. But I'll support it. I'm sorry, Alderman Wilson, I didn't see your hand. My apologies.
So I will also say, and my second take at this is, a postponement can change a lot about within 7 days. It's going to take not just 1 or 2 of us or a group of us coming up with decisions or ideas to put on the table on how we make this budget work. It's going to take all of us. We can't do the finger pointing. That time is well past us. I think we know that we're in a time and decisions are made based off of health and safety of individuals, and we've known since the beginning that what we were getting ourselves into with this budget. So it's not like the unemployment has not been a concern. It's not like the loss of possible potential jobs has not been a concern of members of this council. What the concern should be is that not one or two or a group of individuals bring ideas to the table next Monday as to what they want to see with the budget, and not point fingers, but everyone, like you said, is not only got to sharpen their pencils, but also have to bring things to the table. So if you're not bringing things to the table, I'm sorry, but you're not adding to the solution of the overall budget. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Alderwoman Gould.
Well, I will support postponing the vote on the budget, but I will agree with the mayor that I don't think one more week is really going to make a difference. The state is $2 billion in the hole. I don't think next week they're going to be only $1 billion in the hole. I understand that's going to translate back to cities and towns in a reduction probably in their pilot money. It's going to be a reduction in what we get from the Mashantucket Pequot Fund. It could be a whole host of other reductions. I also know that our taxpayers, if they can't pay their utility bill, how are they going to pay their tax bill? So I'm hoping that maybe we're going to come back to and sharpen our pencils to decrease the budget and find ways to decrease any increase in our mill rate for our taxpayers, because they are the ones who are suffering. As the mayor pointed out, Norwich has the highest unemployment rate of cities and towns in southeastern Connecticut. I don't know if in a week that's going to change. I highly doubt it. And one thing I would like to point out, and I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but a lot of the callers tonight spoke about the cuts that were made to the Board of Education budget. And I just want to point out that the council does not make any decisions on what the Board of Education should fund, should cut, should eliminate. We don't make those decisions. Those are all decisions made by the administration. We control only their bottom line. So if they want to cut a program or something else, that's on the Board of Education and the superintendent. And I just want to make that clear to anyone who's listening.
Thank you. Roll call, please, on the motion to postpone.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes.
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
Thank you. Motion passes to postpone 7-0. And again, that meeting is at 7:30 on the 8th of June, 1 week from tonight.
Motion to adjourn?
I'll second it.
Darn it. It's my job.
Yeah, we have other,
I'm sorry. Well, how are you going
Well, they're
to?
all postponed.
well, we can't set the mill rate.
Can't set the
No,
mill
we
rate.
can't set nothing.
I would make a motion that we also add resolutions 4 and 5 to the agenda of that meeting Monday.
I'll second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Do we have a motion to add 2 resolutions to a motion that we just voted on?
No.
No, that motion passed.
Okay.
Resolution 3, the vote is postponed, but there are 2 other items on the
I
agenda.
know. So this is a motion to postpone both the resolutions 4 and 5. Thank you. Yeah.
For clarity's sake, that is better. Thank you. Both makers of the motion agree?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
That's 7-0.
Thank
Motion
you.
to adjourn.
Motion passed 7-0. The motion to adjourn by Alderman Gould, second.
Go ahead.
Alderman Miles. All those in favor to adjourn, roll call, please.
Alderman DeLucia?
Yes?
Alderwoman Miles?
Yes.
Alderman Wilson?
Yes.
Alderwoman Gould?
Yes.
Alderman Nash?
Yes.
President Pro Tem Bettencourt?
Yes.
Mayor Nystrom?
Yes.
7-0.
We are adjourned. Thank you, all, and all the callers as well.